gonna have to
wait. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Iron Panther Presents. We're in the middle of a conversation. Sorry about that. But anyway, we shall be talking about From season 2, episode 6. This is far better than Yellow Jackets. Let me say that, as I said in the hashtag. I'll say it on camera. Stop watching. Oh, it's over. Go back and watch From. If you for some reason are trying to catch up on Yellow Jackets, stop and come back and watch From. Like, don't waste your time, because what the hell? Anyway, let's talk about this episode. A lot of things went down, a lot of things happened. Kim, what you got for this episode? Where would you like to begin? There's a lot of topics. What
Okay.
get the topic you wanted to begin with?
Oh my gosh. Let's see. Oh wait, hold on. Okay. I would like to start with I guess in the beginning, right? When Boyd wants to talk to oh my gosh, what is her
Kenny's
name?
mom.
Kenny's mom. I can't remember her name. I have her down.
I can't do that.
Yeah,
One.
I think her name is Mal. I think it's Mal. Okay. And he's talking to her, and she's just sitting there, and we know that she doesn't speak English very well. I think she understands most words, but I think she understood everything he was saying based on her body language, right? Because Kenny's already told her what's going on with Sarah. By the way, we did not see Sarah anytime this episode. That was a little odd, but seeing as how Kenny is like running around, trying to wave the white flag for her, I would think they would show her, right? But anyway, so when she was talking to her, the Boyd in the back of his mind, we know he knows that what he's saying is ridiculous, because he can't verbally say what he's trying to say. He can't get it across correctly, right? He's stuttering over his words, trying to make people understand why Sarah is okay to be around everybody. Because he knows that she should not be around everybody. No matter whether she can help us or not, she should be out in the cage or whatever. Maybe put a talisman out there so that they don't eat her. Seriously, if she's gonna help them, right? If he really believes that.
Yeah.
If he really believes that wholeheartedly, then give her a talisman, let it hang outside of the cage. She will survive, right? He could do that, but that would appease everybody in the village. I'm calling it the from land. Let's call it that, from land. So I feel like him struggling to tell this woman is because you know goddamn well what you're saying is ridiculous, and stop saying it, right? But then when he was leaving, I need to understand, guys, and maybe you can explain. I don't get the ballerina. I've been trying to watch other people's videos. I've been researching. I don't know what the ballerina, because my sister had one of those when she was a child. She had the little box, the little jewelry box that had the ballerina. And I don't know the significance of that, right? And then when him actually dancing with her, I was like,
so let's put the ballerina aside, because that's throughout the episode, right?
Yeah, it's a delusion. I know it's a delusion, but it's like, why is it there?
Yeah.
So then, right.
I want to get to the mom and then Kenny coming in. That's what I'm saying. Like that's
okay. Well, when mom and Kenny, and when Kenny came in, we know that why he's still upset. But by the way, Kenny still has his gun though. Kenny's still packing, right?
Sorry, buddy. I'm part-time deputy because I give up this weapon.
And I do like that Kenny, he cares about Boyd, because even though he's angry with him, he still cares about him. He still looks at him as someone to go to for assistance, help, or whatever. And when Boyd was falling down, when he told him to get out, Kenny was like, get out, and he fell down and hit his head. Kenny was very concerned. And when he continued to follow him to Christie, he was still concerned. And of course, we see the delusion again with the ballerina. Well, and so
I don't think so. His mother told him to take her to Christie, and when he was, trying to talk to Kenny, he was like, "Oh well, it seems like you're walking fine, so I think you're good on your own." Like I don't think he was.
Well, no. So when he initially fell, though, he did go to him. Like his mom didn't tell him to do that. Like he was like what happened? Like he gave him the water. To your point, he's still upset, and he wasn't trying to carry him the whole way. But his instinct was to care, right? Like maybe once he remembered, he was supposed to be mad at him, and he was like, "All right, you go on your own." His initial instinct was to care, as you see later on in the episode. Like
when Boyd is at Christie's, and he's talking to Christy about like his dad started this way with the dementia. It started this way and all that stuff. You realize that Kenny, he loves Boyd. He actually does love him. And he cares what happens to him, but he's angry. And when you're angry at someone, it doesn't stop you from caring about him, right? You can be angry.
I think that was when he started to care, because he thought that it wasn't in his control anymore. It wasn't he was just doing it because he was doing it because of like mental defect or mental
I don't think he thinks that the Sarah thing has to do with the dementia. I don't think the Sarah thing. I don't think Kenny believes that the dementia thing has to do with Sarah. They're two separate things.
Yeah. He knew he was in his right mind then. I think his compassion, like he said, it happened to his dad. Boyd is his new dad figure.
Yes.
So like to see it happening again, but also he was fearful, right? So like when he saw him talking to himself inside the medical bay, like he was like, "Well, you ain't going nowhere. Like what's wrong with you? Like you can't be a threat." Like at that point, he was like, I can't have you be a threat to people like Dad was, because Dad opened the door and now and shit went down. So I thought I was anyway. I guess I'm saying I kind of, since we want to start there, I was like, I thought it was interesting, the conversation. To your point that I think he couldn't get it out. I think he believes what he said, because that's why he did it. He didn't think she would buy it. Like he knew she wouldn't buy it, and he knew it was gonna be hard for her to hear it, just like it was hard for fucking Kenny to hear it. I do like your idea though that he should have locked her up in the sheriff's office. Like you're a prisoner, right? You ain't just be running around here like you one of us. Like you in there, you're monitored. We will feed you 3 times a day, but be damned, you're not just gonna be showing up at the cafe. You know what I'm saying? Because somebody might hurt you. You know what I'm saying? Like this is
absolutely.
This is for your protection. But I can't have you walking around here, because people gonna be mad as fuck. They are.
They're pissed.
So I'm like, that's why I was anyway. But like
so I'm like, if they're short on talismans, right? Yeah. And she's the only person in the church, they're just like, yeah, you get your own personal talisman, and we want blood from you, but yet, like you see like the Matthews and they're all in a house, and Donna's there, and all of these people are like up, it's compacted, you know what I mean? And she has her own talisman and her own basic, like a church's place is big. She was in the basement, there's a top, all of these different floors, and she's just in there alone.
But everybody has a choice. They have a choice to go. If somebody wants to go into the church and live, they could do that if they want to. It's just nobody lives in a church normally, right?
Well, also she wasn't there. Like that was all in his head. Like we actually don't know where Sarah's at. I mean, in general,
we don't know where Sarah's at.
But that was all delusion. Like when we actually don't know where the hell Sarah's at, or Randall. To your point, Randall has a whole bust to himself and a fucking talisman.
Yeah, and they didn't show him.
And where was he at? I mean, he's like he's in the middle of the street. That didn't make any sense. Like he should have been there, especially when the band showed up and they were trying to take Ellis to go get medical attention. Like Randall should have been there. So I don't know what in the world was going on with that. But like, I didn't get that. Like
they called out sick that day, both of them, Sarah and.
Well, I'm saying, why would Randall have been? Wasn't Randall was basically by the diner, and Ellis got.
Yeah, he's in the bus by the diner.
Yeah, and Ellis got stabbed at Colony House.
But they drove him through the town to get to the medical bay, if you will, to get to Christie. I'm just saying, like it for some reason, maybe the actors just weren't there, because like Jade wasn't in this, Victor wasn't in. Everyone that was in last episode was not in this episode, like most of them. So maybe they were just like, we just want to focus on different characters. But I think just
that's what I think it was.
I told you they shoot these episodes 2 at a time, so you'll see a lot of they're switching off cast per episode, as you can see from episode 1, episode 2, 3, 4, like they switch off the cast because they're shooting it all at the same time.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying realistically, Victor would have been in the house. because he lives in the house. So
he would have been in Colony House.
He would have been in Colony House at minimum. Randall should have been accounted for because again, he just running around living his best life in that bus. Like seeing all those creatures outside, like he would have responded. Like especially seeing like Boyd out there by himself. Like I would think being the soldier that he is, probably that he is, he probably would have tried to help. But again, they just wanted to focus on Boyd and that sort of thing. But I just thought it was weird that they were just acting like they just went out of town. Like no, they didn't. They gotta be somewhere. But anyway, so Rand, Giovanni, what topic you want to get into? It could be the ballerina. I mean, what was it? Or not?
I would start off with the drugs.
Chrissy's girlfriend.
Yeah.
All right.
Was it Mariana?
Mariana.
Yeah.
I thought it was Marielle. Whatever her name.
The girlfriend.
Ariel.
The drug addict girlfriend.
Yes, Blondie.
And medical assistant, apparently. So it's like she's doing that too.
She was a nurse. She's a nurse.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying the medical, like she's helping, Christy in the medical bay. So what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on
I'm like, she's on her way to rehab. She's a known, so to say, drug seeker. So this is already problematic for Christy. So I want to know what's going to happen. What has her past looked like, and what is it going to mean for the future? Because I'm like, if she is that fearful of her being around medications and stuff, she must have been some sort of terror in the past. So I'm like, I want to know, what does this mean for like the second half of this season going forward? Because she's seeing stuff that's going to probably want to make her want to use it. And she's already, jumped back off the wagon, you know what I mean? So, I don't know. I can see her getting someone killed in some sort of way behind those drugs.
So she could try to go out and get some drugs. She leaves the door open, and then we got a massacre, like in the.
No, it's not trying to get drugs. High on drugs and just.
Oh, and she goes out. She goes out outside.
But she gets somebody else killed. Like that's what I'm saying. Like it's more a tragedy that she probably gets somebody else killed. Because that would, I mean, at this point, if
somebody gets killed trying to save her.
Yeah. Well, she still did it. I mean, but to your point, like some of her drug addiction leads to someone dying. That's important.
I believe that. That's a good idea, Jemai. That could possibly be. What got me with that scene was, and it's with all drug addicts. I've been around drug addicts. When they caught and they get an instant attitude with you, like you've done something wrong. Like when Christy was like, "Oh my God, I gotta hide the drugs." Obviously,
I don't think it's drug. I think that's a symptom of drug addiction, which is pathological lying, right? Pathological liars act like that. They want you to believe their lies, and they will do anything to get you to believe those lies. If you don't believe their lies, then they're angry at you. That's just a pathological liar.
You mad at Christy for trying to. Am I breaking up?
Yeah, you were. Yeah, just for a second.
Okay, am I good now?
Yeah, you're good now.
Okay. All right. What is crazy to me is that Christy's trying to protect other people. Am I messed up again?
No, you're fine. It was just funny. I see you like now you gotta stay still, like so the mic is good. It's like you can't be.
Yeah, it's weird.
I'm assuming that's what you're doing.
Okay. Right. Yeah. So what is weird is that Christy is like, I'm trying to protect the other people that are around, like the whole town. You just admitted to me that you were taking morphine. Ellis could have used that morphine, the stuff that he was going through. Oh my God, I couldn't even imagine. He couldn't even breathe. Could you imagine that? I know what that feels like. It's terrible. But anyway, and so when she's telling her, I'm just going to take the medicine, I'm going to hide it, she's going to have to like really lock it up. And she did lock it with a padlock. But, we know that drug addicts know how to get that kind of stuff off. They just pick it, or she's going to hit it with a hammer or something. And I was like, this bitch has an attitude and she's going to storm outside. I was like, when Christy said, no, it's getting dark out, go outside, go out there, go ahead, knock yourself out. You're wasting your life anyway being a drug addict. Go ahead. That's what I felt like I would have told her. Just go outside. Allow yourself to be killed.
Yeah, she's got her baby back. So like, that's probably, clouding her judgment. That's a complicated relationship in or out of the town. So I mean, so that's a problem. Boyd can now kill creatures. Like we need to talk about that.
Wait,
Like
wait.
Well,
Before you
that's
get to that,
towards the end. So that
wait, before you get to
Can we
that,
be in
right?
the middle?
Wait,
I
I just
go
wanted
ahead,
to respond. Huh?
Go ahead, Jemima.
I was gonna say that when she's saying that, she would say to her, go out there, do whatever. You got to remember that she said, "Why did you start using again?" And she said, "Oh, is it because I went missing?" So Christy does feel responsible for her using again, being the fact that it was because of her disappearance.
Well, that's true. That's true.
And that does make sense. I mean, if you're a significant other that just go missing for months, so that's a stressor. So I mean, and so that and again, like she felt guilty about the kid, because she was like, like I told Sarah that I would do whatever to get you here, and then he goes out and Sarah tries to kill Ethan, so she kind of feels guilty about that too. Like, maybe I caused that. But no, I to your point, Kim, like I want to get to the big stuff. Like, so like we didn't necessarily do this chronologically. So I'm like, that is big. This was a season finale episode to me, because that right there, like Boyd able to take that creature down. I'm like,
so you get straight to the smiley monster,
huh?
I said you get straight to the smiley monster.
Yeah, we got to do that. We got to, because there's other things, but like, I mean, that's something we can understand. Like the whole ballerina shit, we're just gonna be making up stuff. But this thing, like he used the blood from Martin to kill the creature, and the other ones just sat there and just waited for this to happen. That's why I'm confused on. Like,
yeah, I didn't understand that either. I was like, why? They move slow as hell anyway, right? But then they just halted, and I was like, wait, you're not gonna jump on him? Nobody's gonna try to grab Boyd. You know what I mean? Nobody did. They were like, okay, he's touching Smiley, and they just let it happen, and then Smiley just. That's it. And we still don't know whether that's it. Like he's really dead, but he's not moving. We know he's not moving, right? And I saw an interview with a guy after it premiered, and the guy who plays Smiley. And I have to say, and this is gonna sound it's not gonna sound bad. Anyway, the guy who plays Smiley is definitely on the spectrum, or he's actually autistic, right?
Oh.
And I watched his interview. I watched 2 of his interviews, and I was like, okay, I have a nephew who is, and I know what that looks like and it sounds like, right? He is fabulous. His acting is phenomenal. I think he's doing a wonderful job. And when he's in the interviews and things, he tries so hard to make sure he doesn't tell what he's not supposed to tell.
Oh.
And so it's so difficult for him, but he's just a gracious guy, just happy people are enjoying him. I thought I loved listening to him talk about, how he really loves playing the character, and that people recognize him, and he loves that they recognize him and they talk to him. He's just really good. Like, just watch his interview and you see he really tries hard to scare people, to make them, like they really, but when you meet him in person, he said Jamie, and talks in the third person. He says Jamie is not like Smiley, right? Jamie is a good person. Jamie's a very, nice person. And when people meet me, they don't realize that Jamie is a good person and I'm nice and, stuff. And so I just enjoyed everything about that. And it made me feel like finally people are seeing that someone who has that condition can just play anything, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not all, you don't always have to cater to the fact that they do have this issue. He can do other things, right? He can memorize lines, he can do, so I thought that was fantastic. I'm like, the writers, whoever hired him, keep doing that. Give everybody a chance to live their dream. So I just want to say that, but I really enjoyed it. But he was trying not to say what happened. He said, because we still don't know what happened to Smiley. He's still laying on the ground. We don't know, right?
That's true. But I thought the fact, because I remember somebody said in the comments, we've talked about before, like, until they can figure out a way to hurt one of these things, like, it's like, like, what are we gonna do? Like, there's no story, right? You just got.
They said that last week. Remember, it was Ethan. He started with oh, I'm not afraid of you, that kind of thing, right?
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So
And I
you
think
stand,
that
up to the monster, and then you can fight him if you got it right.
and Boyd was not afraid in that moment when he did that, which was fabulous acting. He shut it down. He said, if he was shaking in his boots, we couldn't tell.
Yeah.
We couldn't tell. Like, he was actually a Marine in that moment. Marines could be shitting on themselves, but when the Marine has to stand up to someone to defend, you can't tell. They're like, you know what? I'm gonna put a bullet in you, period, right? But they could be like, oh my God, inside of their body. You know what I mean? That's what Boyd did. But Boyd, we didn't know he was scared. He just walked up to dude, I'm just gonna try this out, see if it works. If it doesn't work, I'm dead. But I'm gonna do this. And his, of course, his motivation was
His son.
Alice.
Yeah.
My baby's in there.
Yeah.
I gotta save my son.
So I thought, but like you said, I thought it just seemed illogical that one of the creatures just sat there and waited, right? And it was like,
that was weird.
Like surrounding them. And then even after, Smiley fell, they didn't attack Boyd. You know what I'm saying? Like, like people would have done. Like, they walked up to Smiley. And then I thought, oh, they're going to carry him away. But they never seen this shit before, maybe. They're like, oh, man, we got to, take our boy back and figure out what happened. They regroup. And they just
They don't know what to do, but they don't know what to do.
They're like, well, we'll just turn around and leave. And I'm like, what? And I was like, this, okay. I was like, well, so what's gonna happen next? I thought. But yeah, I thought. Anyway, overall, I thought season finale. This easily could have been episode 9 or 10, and I would have been like, I'll see you for season 3 because I need to see what's the aftermath. What's up, Giovanni?
I was saying, like, Boyd, he didn't stick around. He was like, they're looking at him. I'm making my way back to that door. Like, I'm not sticking around to find out if they're gonna leave on their own or what they're gonna do.
But no, that's not true because they walked past him, right? So he said, well, like he was almost trapped. He looked trapped, and then like they just like, and then like, yeah, he left. But then I was like, they walked past him.
They
and then
focused, right? They kept focusing on Smiley.
Yeah,
like they knew Boyd was there, but it was kind of like Boyd's, he's not there. Let's just. I was like, that's weird.
Yeah.
Because they were like, yo, if he can do that to him, he might can do that to us. So they kind of like they were trying to figure out. Is he dead or like we're not gonna fuck with him until we find out what's going on with Smiley? So in that amount of time it took for them to assess the situation, Boyd was like, I'm booking it up out of here.
I'm out. I thought so. How do we get to this point? So with Ellis stabbed by Dale. Kim locked up. So I hope you have to regroup or something, Kim. So
Wait,
you know who Dale is, Jamani? Have you ever seen this character before this episode?
Isn't Dale the guy that Donna knocked out last season?
I hope not, because that would be stupid if they got stabbed by the same asshole from last season. Because maybe it was him. I swear I felt like they just brought him in today, and then this would happen. But I'm like, I hope that we have seen it before. He's not rememberable either way. Like I didn't really.
I don't remember the name Dale. I don't remember the phase, but I do remember the name Dale. I think that was the guy from last season that Donna knocked out. That would probably be Donna's husband in real life because that was the guy she knocked out last season.
And then this is the second time that they did the whole reflex, accidental knife incident, right? Because like that's how Sarah killed her brother.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was like, let's not keep on doing this, bro. Like twice is enough, you know what I'm saying? But like then Ellis gets stabbed. Oh boy, to me, Fatima should have been driving because she actually knows the town. Because like to have the new guy drive at night in a town that he ain't familiar with, I'm like, this is not a good idea when we gotta get to point A to point B in a timely fashion. I mean, all he had to do was put pressure on the wound, but I don't know
why. This nigga is getting out. I'm like, how is he getting out of the car and doing cars like chauffeur services? I gotta walk around and open up the door for you. And what, man? If you don't get out the car when I stop,
you done. Like you. Oh, like what? I mean, and then somehow the walkers are just like he has plenty of time to do all this stuff. Then the walkers just sit there and watch the Jeep drive away. I'm like, how is anyone even getting killed by these things? Like, they do nothing. Like, it's like they just walk up to you. If your dumb ass just happens to be around or that close to them, then you're dead. You deserve to die at that point. I mean, because they're not sneaky. They're not, they're not aggressive until they get up on you. And so I'm like, you just wanted to die. Like, I'm
like Boyd did basically, like, Father Kotri, how is he dead if Boyd is not dead right now?
Yeah, that's plot convenience, I guess.
No. I think, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I think, remember when the difference between the priest didn't have this new blood pulsing through his veins. Remember when it first happened to Boyd, when he got the blood mixed with the guy, I guess his name was John
Martin,
or whatever.
Martin.
Right. Remember when Boyd was in the forest and he was just sitting there, and it was a thin tree, but he was hiding behind the thin tree, and the people were coming out, the monsters were coming out, right?
I remember.
It was kind of like he was invisible to a certain extent, because they did not come near him. They just kept walking. Remember, they all kept walking.
I understand what you're saying. I'm thinking about it from I'm looking at it from the perspective of, like, when you seen in the last season with was it Jasmine or whatever, she came in, she kind of had like the little foreplay with was it Kevin or whatever, and then she bit off his tongue and ripped into him. I'm like, it seemed like he called them out, they all come out, and then he does whatever to Smiley. Smiley is really about to go off on him because he's like, I like that game. But then he ended up dying.
They feed off of the energy. Remember, they feed off of you being afraid, your fear. So he was like, yeah, I like stuff like this.
Well, again, like you said, Kenny was seduced, so he wasn't scared either. Like, he thought he had a girlfriend, and then all of a sudden, like, he just got eaten. So anyway, we're just saying, like, with the priest, it was like it got so close. It's almost like Walking Dead, right? Like, you don't see them until they're off camera, and there's like a jump scare, and then they scratch.
And they're right there. Yeah, they're right there.
And I'm like, these things, like, again, what's the new guy's name? The black
Elgin. Oh, Elgin.
We were just saying how as much time as Elgin had to run outside to a truck that he's never driven before, look around it, look for the keys, drive
without
up.
a talisman.
Yeah. Look, I don't think there was a talisman in there.
Yeah,
like,
that's what I'm saying. Without a talisman.
Without a talisman, like, he had a whole bunch of time all of a sudden. And then
because because of how slow they walk.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, they're not, like, we're like, no one should be murdered once you know these things exist, because you can outwalk them, you can outrun them. I mean, because they just let the Jeep go by. They don't stand in front of it to be like, oh no, you're not going.
Well, they did go up to it, but Elgin pulled off.
And they were like, hey, well, all right. I guess they just drove off. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, y'all ain't menacing. Like, again, it depends what they're trying to achieve with the writing.
Because I'm like, you look at Father Kotri, I'm like, there's no, like, they just came and like swiped him with like the longest fingernail in the world, just slit his. I'm like, as long as Boyd has to cut himself, then cut Smiley, then press his wound against Smiley.
But I think, I think what that was. I know it's not blood. Anyway, it was no. I think the reason why Boyd got a little bit more time was because he wasn't afraid, right? Remember what the little boy said last week, Ethan.
Yeah.
He was like, it has to do with your fear. So you have to be not afraid, right? You have to, and Boyd was standing up to these monsters. He was not afraid. In that moment, he was not afraid. When he stepped out of the hospital and walked over to them and was like, come on. He was not afraid. And as the closer they got to him, I thought that he would show that he was afraid, and he still didn't. Because remember when it happened to the mother last week, right? She thought she was going to be able to do the same thing. She thought she was going to stand tall. The kids were not going to scare her till they started touching her. When they started touching her, she freaked the hell out, and she showed she was afraid. And but Boyd did not. And when Boyd cut his hand, he was like, I'm going to try this anyway. And he did it. And then they were just, I think that he kind of threw them off. Like, one, he's not afraid. And then two, he touched one of us. Like, they don't touch us, right? So I think that these things are They don't know what's happening, just like Boyd didn't know what's happening.
But remember that they drove off, they pulled off that couple, right? And they're like, why didn't they kill her immediately? Like they stuck her to the tree so she could watch her partner, her boyfriend be murdered, like ripped apart. So it's like they're doing different.
I didn't understand that either. What?
So
why was she still alive?
I like is what well, I don't know how they pulled it off, but again, they just said they wanted her to watch. But I'm like, I don't know what we achieved with that, but I'm saying, but that's what they did. But anyway, I want Kenny really was like a whole new level this episode. So like him standing up to help Boyd, pointing a gun at Boyd to be like, you're gonna give up this blood for Ellis. I was like, this is pretty ballsy, but also don't make a lot of sense, because if you go through with it, then all the blood is going to be on the floor. So you're not really helping Ellis at this point. So I get it, but I don't.
But I think that was just to put fear in him. Like, Boyd, you're going to do it. He wouldn't have shot him. He wouldn't have shot him. Kenny would have kept saying, come on, Boyd, please do this. Come on, Boyd, please do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was cool. It was cool though, but he was like, he was still committed, right? He was like, okay, we're going to get through this. But then, so if Boyd, what's the medical science that says I can send all the blood into the creature, but now I can give a perfect transfusion and I know that my son is not going to receive the worms? Because I just knew with Ellis with his shirt off that those things were going to start popping up like immediately. That's why I thought like okay, like
I wanted to know
that next week. I think that's going to happen myself.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm like, this needs to mean something. That now his son is powered up or whatever. I mean, if that you can consider that a power. But what's up, Demai?
I wanted to know, like, all right, he thinks that, I don't want to pass this on to Ellis, but I'm going to pass this on to, one of the monsters or creatures outside, right? Not thinking about what happened to Martin. And like, how did
oh, that's right, he died immediately.
Yes, and he's like, I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to be able to go back inside and give a transfusion, but I'm not going to have what exactly just happened to me.
Mark, I'm not gonna die immediately. Like,
yeah, because I'm like, the creature dies. I'm like, how did basically they want the viewer to say the inverse happens? I'm like, why would we think that? Like,
that's a bit, but I hear your point. Like that. Well, so again, this is Boyd was just making this stuff up himself. He was like,
yes, he was.
The man wanted to die, and the worms were keeping him alive. Like, you don't know any of this shit. You just.
No, I'm not saying necessarily what he said. I'm just going on basically what happened in that episode when he got the worms. I'm saying if he's trying to recreate that, there's.
Well, no, but again, he thought that he wasn't gonna die because Martin was dying anyway, and it was just the worms keeping him alive. So he was like, well, if I can give them to whoever. And then I'm gonna be fine. So again, back to Kenny, like Kenny being the G, he was like, well, give them to me. Whatever you got, give them to me, and then you can take care of your son. I'm like, Kenny was committed. I mean, I was like, damn. I
have a question. So going back to what you're talking about, Jamani, with John, I think that was the guy's name. Okay, so when John wanted to die, right?
Martin.
I'm sorry, Martin. Okay, so Martin wanted to die. Mm. So once he whatever he did with the blood with Boyd, right? The worms went into Boyd and Martin was able to die, right? So when Boyd did that to the monster, what is that? Did that mean that now Boyd does not have the worms anymore and he's now giving it to Ellis? Is that what that means? Or does Boyd still have the worms, right? And they're going to use this as maybe a protection for, transmit his blood to everyone.
Because all right, so let me go with you on this, right? He said I'm a little rusty on my science, right?
Okay,
but
am I breaking up?
Is O negative the universal donor? Because they said we're the same blood type, we're O negative or whatever. Yeah. So is that the universal donor? Because then that would apply to him being able to transfuse everybody then.
Yeah.
If he's a universal donor, but if
I think to your point, I think that would be too much plot armor for the show. And so I think if Ellis,
it's right, it is, because I'm O also.
Oh.
It's and if you're type O, negative blood, you can be a universal blood donor. Yes.
So if Ellis gets it, then they may and they can show the limitations of it. Like, I killed one creature, I had to touch him though. Okay, right? So can we just put it in a jar and throw it at them? Do we have to put in? It's like, how? Because they can't.
I think you have to do the whole curse. You got to do the whole my blood is your blood.
Well, I'm saying so I mean, is that really part of it, or that's just what Martin said, right? Again, he's just redoing what was done to him.
Yeah,
but to your point, Martin died immediately. So, that's not necessarily a thing. So, like, they have to try to test it out to see, well, how does this work? Is this a true weapon against these creatures? So all that has to count, has to be taken into account, before they start to move forward. But, like, again, if I feel like if Ellis was going to have the worms, it would have happened then, like with his shirt already off and everything, and he's starting to feel better, like in arms and everything. And then I thought the fact that Christie's girlfriend was the first one to see the worms out, that it was because she was on drugs, and that no one else was going to see it. Like, I thought it was just going to be her. Because at first, remember, he was scratching and they were like, no, it's like, it's there. Like, no, it's not. Like, you're fucking crazy, right?
Yeah, they didn't see it. Yeah.
Right. But then when she was the first one, not Christy, when she was the first one to see it, I was like, oh, damn, it's just going to be the crackhead. So I was like, that's not going to help. You know what I'm saying?
But then Christy saw it.
But then Christy
and
saw it.
Kenny saw it. Right.
So then it's like, oh, it's legitimate. Like, it's real, and it's not just in his head. But he is wrestling with the ballerina, which is completely in his head.
Yeah, that's a complete delusion. Which I don't understand.
I don't even how.
And then the worms coming out of her mouth. I thought I was watching, like, what is it, Sprain, or there used to be the
strain.
The strain. Yeah, I was like, what is this? Like, what is happening? No, there's another show we watched too where they have the worms coming out of their mouth. Oh my gosh, I can't remember what show it is, but I'll think about it.
We'll work on that. Then that leads to the I say it every time because it happens every time. Straight relationships result into babies. Gay relationships result.
They were predicting this on all of those on the other channels about Fatima.
Oh, Fatima is
Fatima is pregnant.
Yeah. And the fact that neither, this is why we need Chris or something. But I'm like, Lost, the whole thing about Lost was nobody can get pregnant on the island, and we have to bring in specialists or something to try to figure out why people can't get pregnant here. So it's just like, okay, now somebody's getting pregnant there or whatever. So what does that mean for the baby? Kind of Yellow Jacket style. Is the baby going to live all the, or is it, kind of what is?
That's another 9 months. So I mean, it's like, and I don't know how time.
If people are healing in a half an hour from a building falling on them, this baby can come out in 2 weeks.
I'm just saying, but I'm saying, like, we don't know how time works in this show. So like, I mean, are they gonna time jump so the baby can be born, like, or whatever, or is the baby even gonna be born? Is she even pregnant? Or they just want to put that topic out there, that kind of drama point out there, and then also to her getting on Ellis about, you didn't tell me about Sarah. We're supposed to be a married couple. We're gonna be married. You're supposed to tell me everything. Bitch, you think you pregnant? Like, is this something you want to tell me? Like, I'm like, well, you should have a conversation. Because I ain't trying to hear this from Christy. They'll be like, oh, and why would you randomly have, like, pregnancy tests? Like, where are they getting all these supplies from? It's just like...
No, I have a question about that. I'm glad you said that, right? Remember when we first started watching this show, and they had all these crops and stuff, right? They were growing shit, beautiful crops, right? Okay, so then the rain comes, and all of a sudden, because it rained that day, now the crops are gone. How did you get the crops in the first place?
Yeah.
Like, did someone did a truck that was owned by, what is those a nursery? The nursery?
Yeah.
When you go to the nursery for seeds and plants and all that shit.
Yeah, okay, I got you. Yeah.
So the plant nursery van, did it break down in the town and we don't know about it? Because how did they get the seeds to even make it?
You got to remember, this town was going before they showed up. And then also they made it seem like last season when they did the backstory on Boyd and his family, when they showed up, it was like livestock and stuff would just kind of pop up. Like it's almost like the city was sustaining them to a certain extent.
Then why isn't it still doing that then?
So then my
I
thing
think
was
that's to Jim's point about they want
stress.
to take
Stress.
stuff away that they have been giving to induce a reaction out of people.
Oh yeah. Okay,
It
that makes sense.
It just seems to go more to that theory that maybe this is all one big experiment, right? Like that could be a part of it too. But then I mean yeah, there has to be it. There has to be like but so
makes sense. It does make sense. What Jim is saying makes sense because
or the weather's changing. Also the leaves, remember?
Oh, that's true. Victor said that.
Victor said the trees are changing. Boyd said that it looks like fall is coming or something like the tree. So maybe it's just going through the season where there's no food, and you got a whole bunch more people now that you got to feed. You know what I'm saying? But the whatever brought these more people.
You got to remember that a lot of these people were not there a year ago. So when you say the seasons change, like Fatima has been there a year. Think about how that was a significant thing for her, but most of the majority, 90% of the people have not even seen winter there, so to say. So they've all come and stacked, over several months. So this is like high capacity. But did
Fatima go through where there was a drought in food? She didn't say that.
No, but I'm saying if there was a drought in food and there's only 5 people there, as opposed to
not a big deal.
50 people, they can make it through fine.
Well, then you got really it's Victor. Victor's been there the longest, so he would know the cycle of the place. You know what I'm saying?
We got rations all over the place.
So yes, I'm saying so maybe Victor's like, this ain't the first time, bro. So I'm gonna ride this thing out in this truck I got over here, and I'll see y'all next season. You know what I'm saying? But like the rest
doesn't he hide food in there too? He has like snacks and chips. Yeah.
So I'm just saying, but he would be the best one to kind of know, that those cycles. They're being punished because of the tower that Jim built. That could be it too. Like that could be it too. Also, finally telling information. Boyd finally told somebody, told Kenny what happened to him. The fact that he met the guy, and Martin, and the fact that he got the worms and all that. Like he's finally given up information. Tabitha still has not said that she knows where the monsters come out of, which is irritating me. Like that's critical information at this point.
I agree with that, and I want to say that I don't think it's necessarily Jim in the tower. I think that's just how they communicated with Jim. But it was really what they said was it's about Tabitha digging down in the basement.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, she's like, you stop with that shit. So it could be that too. Someone is supplying all the food like a Sims game or something, and maintaining the environment and weather. So and again, that's what Boyd was talking about. Like the animals would just appear, so they had to catch them and stuff, and like we don't know how it's happening. So it's some kind of intelligent design running the place, and maybe said design has to catch up with all the new people. And try to produce more food for everyone. I thought Donna, back to the food, I thought Donna had a great grandma moment, like with Ethan.
With Ethan. I thought that was really a nice moment with him.
That was beautiful. Yeah. She's like, you'll be feared to me. You can be brave. You can be a hero. And he's like, yeah, thank you, Grandma. I was like, oh, this. I should give him a hug and shit. I was like, oh, damn.
I was just,
no, Donna, don't go, Donna.
Well, let's hope not, because they are giving Donna a lot. They're giving her more dialogue.
Yeah,
and I'm hoping that they don't, because I like Donna. I don't want her to go. Sorry, Jamani, go ahead. I'm sorry.
This is Walking Dead.
I just want to know why was she there? Like, why did she just? It's getting to be nighttime, like as the episode starts, and it's just like people are making their way to where they live or where they need to be, and she just, I'm going on a run, and I'm just gonna stay here overnight. Like, why did she not do that earlier and make her way back to Colony House? Why did she
had to drop off the food? She said that when the sun was up, when she was talking to Dale, like they had to do the food run for whatever reason. I think they're bringing the food to
one central area,
so they can divvy it up really to the cafe. I think so because I think it's where most of them eat. So she had to do it, and it just took a long time. So they're like, we're gonna have to stay here. So it's more like forethought. We're not gonna make it back in time for shutdown. So Ellis and Fatima, you handle this, and I'll see you in the morning.
Yeah.
But she was there with Jim and crew trying to ration out.
Trying to prepare the food and like really like cut it up really small, and You know, everybody was cutting up some type of food and making it smaller, you know, so.
Yeah. So, but yeah, they just had, there's only so much time in the day, so many hours in the day. So where's the old lady that owns the
there's a lot of people, I don't know, there was a lot of people that didn't, like the guy who stabbed Ellis, I've never seen this guy
Thank
before.
you. That's what I asked. That's why I asked Giovanni, who the fuck is Dale? Like, I don't remember. So he said Dale is the guy that Donna punched out last season.
When he said some stuff out of his mouth.
Son, like mother, like son, like son, like mother, something like that. He made a reference to his mom. Yeah,
because I think he knows that he's going to go into the box because last season he got punched out by Donna by saying something against Ellis. Now he stabbed Ellis. He was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, Ellis. I didn't mean you. No. Out of anybody in the world, it could have been. I didn't mean it to be you because nobody's gonna believe that this is an accident."
There. He didn't do it on purpose. When Ellis was right behind him, and he turned around, and Ellis kind of went into the knife. He didn't really mean to stab him.
I know that as a viewer, but I'm saying if I'm a townsperson and wasn't there to see it.
Yeah,
and
know the history.
He's a liability. Like that.
He definitely is because he's a hothead.
Yeah. So
and also, you know what? I feel like, and I don't know if you guys agree with this. Elgin, I don't believe that Elgin was taking food for himself. I think Elgin was taking food for Sarah. That's who I think. I think he was, and I think he was trying to say it, but no one's listening to Elgin. Like Elgin is like this huge giant that no one listens to.
So that's a good. Well, he claimed. I thought he was claiming he said he was taking food
from
out
his
of his
own backpack
to give it to out of his backpack to put it with the rest of the food. But to your point, maybe he was in fact trying to take food and in fact for Sarah, because again, we don't know where Sarah's at. So that actually would make sense that maybe she's on her own trying to hide out somewhere.
And Elgin knows.
And Elgin knows and was trying to take care of her.
Yeah, they're friends now, right? So that's what I thought. I thought he was just taking bits and pieces because that's what the guy said. Don said he's taking food and put it in his backpack. Well, that makes sense to me if he's trying to help out Sarah because nobody wants to feed Sarah. Nobody.
Yeah. Dale was in season 1. If they put Dale in the box, I'm gonna be mad.
He didn't put Sarah in the box.
Sarah straight, and that's what they're gonna say. But Sarah straight murder people. Like he almost killed Ellis, yes. But but Sarah has a good track record. It wasn't just the brother she killed on accident. I clearly it wasn't an accident, but she was fully trying to kill Ethan. So,
but Dale is a hothead, and we all know if you work in any office, the hothead can rile up everybody else, right?
Yes.
Everybody else, and that can be dangerous.
Yes. And so, that's why Randall's, and that's why to me Randall's similar. Now that we got Dale and he's been brought back to our attention. Yes. That's what kind of Randall is like, right?
But put his ass on the bus with Randall.
There you go. Put him on the bus with Randall. Let Randall. Yes.
That's gonna be a hillbilly bus.
I'm like, hey, y'all work this shit out because Randall ain't gonna take that kind of stuff. And let's see you talk mess to him. Because I'm sure Randall will put him out. Boyd is being warned that there's a delicate balance / dance, and that has to be maintained to survive and finally figure a way out. I think
that's what the ballerina is.
A dance,
delicate dance.
That
is fantastic, King Kong.
Okay,
that is good.
I hear you, but Martin was also hearing the song, and he was like, "You don't want to be here when that thing stops." So that was a warning. So I'm trying to balance those two things together because remember he was like, "Oh, you hear that music? You fuck."
I think Martin.
I'm sorry, Giovanni. 1 second. For The Last of Us, remember The Last of Us had those things coming out of their mouths?
Yes.
That's what I'm comparing the ballerina to.
You're thinking about when the old lady was like, and the old girl got kissed?
Yes. Gotcha, and the ballerina had those things coming out of her mouth?
Yes.
That's who I was talking about. Yes. I'm sorry. Go ahead, guys. Yeah.
That's a good one. I like that one. Yeah.
I was saying, I think that Martin actually, did do the, if we're going to talk about The Last of Us, he was the redhead Tess.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah,
The
we
girlfriend.
did the kiss like Tess did in that or whatever, and that's why he leaned into it why Boyd, he kept resisting it. He would pull back, he wouldn't get kissed, he wouldn't go into
Okay.
full on into the trance of the delusion. So
Martin gave into the delusion. That's what you're saying.
Yeah. So when he's saying when the music stops, I fully have gone into it or fully have embraced it. So he's hearing the music, but he's not going into it. So until that the ballerina actually kisses him or keeps him held down, that's when the music will, so to say, stop for him, and he will become one of them, or so to say.
Well, then again, so we don't if they even get back to Martin, but like he was shackled to that damn to the wall and like and it looked like
okay. So my hypothesis on that is he was free, right? He threw the rope down. He said, you got to hurry up. It's almost time. Whatever. He's like, I don't know if he's gonna get up here in time. Clink, clink, and he locked himself up, so to say. Because he was like, yeah, I don't, if he doesn't get up here in time and he gets up here and I've already turned or whatever,
you're big on the turning thing. I hear you, but there was two other skeletons next to him though.
Yeah, that had been
around, like he wasn't the only. He wasn't the first or the only. So like right. that's a different thing. But I
remember, this is a fictional place because it disappeared. So maybe that's where his conscience goes once the ballerina has already, consummated, so to say.
Perhaps. Well, I mean, we got to see that. We got to see if that place comes back or even Martin.
Because we don't. What about the rope? Like, we still don't know how the rope got down there. Yeah. Who was holding the other end of the rope that Boyd could actually get up?
So Jemani's saying that was Martin. That Martin is the one that helped him up, and then as he started to climb up, like he shackled himself before he turned into whatever. Like it was Martin that threw. I don't know. I mean, but that's a theory. We don't know if Martin's even going to come back, but it would be interesting if they do try to tie this thing together, and make it make sense. Because right now this looks like a delusion. That's what I'm saying. Sarah didn't go into the box, just slapped Dale in the mouth. Now he needs a lot more than that. He got punched, as Jemani pointed out. He got punched last season. If you stab my son, you know what I'm saying? Like real bad things need to happen to you. You know what I'm saying? So I do agree with the exile him with Randall, because Randall's also unstable and therefore dangerous for the house. That's why he got put out. Mm-hmm. So like Dale needs to be out there, with Randall.
Because those two personalities can get other people to get on board with them, and then that's dangerous to Boyd and Kenny. Because you know what I mean?
Especially with the whole food thing. If the food shortage gets out, I mean, Dale, especially Dale, because he peep game that hey, we're running out of food. It looks like, and he gets enough followers that he's it's going to be a problem.
It's going to be a problem, right? Exactly.
Yeah,
but I think it's if Boyd can play politician and speak well enough, he can flip it to say, Sarah pushed me into the tree, whatever. She gave me the gift of the antidote, that will kill these monsters, which is what saved Ellis's life. So we need to save her because she's already saving lives. This is the proof right here, right? As far as Dale goes, he's just reckless. There's no excuse. This is just Dale. So he can cast aspersions on Dale, get Dale put in the box, and everybody be okay with it, and as well as people being okay with Sarah being around, because Sarah is the origin for why Ellis's life was able to be saved.
I don't think after murdering, like I see where you're trying to go with that. I don't. Kenny's not gonna buy that bullshit. Like Kenny ain't gonna buy it. Mama's not gonna buy it. Fucking Tabitha and Jim ain't gonna buy it. Like there's someone okay with that. But I don't think they know Dale enough to be like he's more dangerous than Sarah, who in fact caused the murder and tried to kill somebody. You know what I'm saying? So like
I'm like, all right. So most people don't even know all of the full totality of Sarah's murders, whether it's was it Toby or whatever. Nobody cared about Toby except for Jade. And I don't even think Jade knows that Sarah's responsible for Toby's death. She killed her brother. That's her brother. You know, like I don't think people were that invested in her brother. It's more or less about her attempting to kill.
That. He's a person.
I know.
Well, she opened the hospital, which got Kenny's.
Yes. Okay. So I'm saying Kenny is the person who's bothered about his father, and people are universally caring about the Ethan. Fact that she attempted to kill Ethan. Those are like the two people that people keep bringing up. Nobody really brings up her brother.
Or that's okay. I'll give you. No one brings up her brother or the guy that was laying in the bed. Like you said, Jade's friend. That's what you meant. Jade's friend, right?
Toby.
Jade's friend.
Yeah, Toby. They got ripped apart. Yeah, nobody. I mean, that's right. Jade don't seem to give a fuck. But she's she's dangerous. I mean, she's unstable. So I don't know. I mean, I think Dale's gonna be fine. I think they're gonna just move past it for some reason. I wonder if all the worms left Boyd or if he passed on to Ellis. I think he passed on to Ellis. Will Howdy Doody turn to stone and ash in the sun? I like that. So it would be
sounds like vampires.
It would be like.
I mean, we don't know what these things are, man.
We have no clue. They still have to be invited in to an extent. They all need to come together and have a town meeting and talk about everything. That's most shows and seeing and experiences. It will help them figure out how to survive and possibly get out. And that's why it's not going to happen.
Hold the hell up. Why the hell didn't any of these new people choose town or college?
I think they did that off camera because I for some reason they didn't go through the whole formal ceremony on camera. But there are people living in Colony House apparently, you know, obviously, and there's new people living in the town. So I think that was just done off camera.
It seemed like they're the
majority. I thought Boyd had to be there for that. So who represented town?
I don't. That's a good point. I don't know. Maybe Kenny. Because he's next in sheriff line, so if they had to be done and Boyd wasn't there, Kenny would have did it for that. Because when the people showed up, Donna, who represents Colony House, was like, "Hey, Kenny, go out there and do your part." You know, saying like you're sheriff now. So it would have been Kenny, in that sense.
They don't have that many houses left anyway.
Also,
and why is that couple? The one that's in Sarah's house, why aren't more people living in that house with them? Like, why do they get a whole damn house to themselves? There should be more people in that house with them because Colony House is overrun. We saw last season that Colony House had people having sex in the living room next to each other because there's no other bedrooms available.
Well, that's by choice. Again, they chose to live in fancy, you know, freedom house really, as opposed to living in town where there's rules. So that's not a lack of space. That's decisions.
That's just hippie.
I got you. Oh, I didn't realize that. Okay.
Yeah. Because
remember, Kevin had his own room.
And so does Ellis and Fatima.
But that's not true because when Julie,
Julie went there.
Julie was like, you can lay here with us.
But that's when they invited her, though. That's a difference. They invited her.
But I'm saying to the point of sharing, like that's the philosophy of Colony House. You know what I'm saying? So for some reason, like
Victor's the only one that's like, I'm by myself.
I'm by myself. So and Donna, we know that Donna had her own place. That's still 4 bodies. What are we counting? We do not. Do we need more? We need more information to Dale's pocket dimension theory before he goes into the box.
Yeah, I know. Last season, before he got hit by Donna, he said he thinks that this whole thing is a pocket dimension.
Oh, thank you. I was like, I did not remember Dale like that. They need to do better than keeping Dale more relevant because I truly thought he was just a random character they brought into this episode.
I really did. I forgot all about him.
I forgot.
That's Donna's real life husband. So I'm like, yeah.
So I mean, they're not doing a good job keeping him in the forefront because I was like, who's this asshole? I do, and I was like, so, but that's interesting. So maybe he'll get more screen time as they progress into this thing. What else? Kenny, awesome. Mama, good. No Jade. Again, no Jade. Well, technically, Jade lives in the bar, so he don't necessarily have to come out unless he wants to. So that makes sense of why he wasn't in this episode. He's kind of a loner anyway. Maybe him and Victor are hanging out in the bar, and he's playing the violin for him. So that's why Victor was not in this episode. That's possible.
Jade could be a hothead too, so Jade needs to be alone.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Jade needs his own space because he's just selfish and shit. Like he's not physically dangerous. He's just an asshole.
Yeah, he's an asshole.
Yeah. Randall's physically dangerous. Like that's different. But he definitely needs more space, and so is Dale apparently. Also,
I don't think Dale is actually violent. I think at that moment he was riled up.
Yeah,
and it happened by accident.
With knives in their hands.
Yeah.
Stop yelling people with knives in their hands. This is
right.
the second
Put the
time.
knife down and yell, get it out of your system and move on.
And we'll move on and we'll have a conversation. That needs to be a new rule for Colony House. And just in general.
Hold on. Theory. Has Smiley Monster turned back human?
We assumed that he was human to begin with. I hear you.
Or even if he wasn't human to begin with, has he just been turned human?
He's dead as fuck though. That's possible.
I'm like, we don't know he's
dead.
We just know he's still.
I hear you. So perhaps he's turned human because that human facade is a.
But if he turned human, he would die anyway because he slashed his throat.
But I hear you. But maybe all that healed, and now too. Yeah.
When he slashed his throat, right? He was still talking because he said, "I like this game," right?
Yeah.
And then he changed and morphed into, monster thing or whatever, right? But when you looked at him outside, it was like he wasn't necessarily a monster. It was like it was his human form, so to say, laying on the ground.
Yeah, he went back to his suicide. I think. Well, yeah, I know what you're saying because somehow I think when they're gonna attack, they change into that monster, and then when they calm down, they go back to human form.
But when one creature was sleeping, when Tabitha looked at it, it was already a monster. It was in monster form when it was in the corner.
Yeah, that's how folklore is now. But I'm saying now that he has the worms in him, is he just now human now, just stuck? He doesn't have any monster in him anymore. It has the adverse effect or something on him. He's just human. Like in the morning, he's just, hi, how are you guys?
That would be interesting. That would be interesting. So we got to see if there's more story to tell, I guess, with Smiley, because he's the most recognizable of the creatures. So it would be poor for them just to kill.
People love him. They love him.
It would not. That's not a good move because then people would be like, he's the only one we kind of go, oh yeah. So maybe perhaps he's turned human, and then now the actor gets to be himself.
That would be great, right?
And that'd be cute. So maybe that's what they do with that. And then how do they weaponize it? Either way, if whether killed or transformed, like how do they weaponize Boyd's ability? Does Ellis have it? And then how do they put that together? Is the game? They have to come up with a game plan. If they do feel like they have a weapon now, on top of the talismans. That's it. But
I'm like, if she's not pregnant, and then she does get pregnant later, is that a mixed baby?
It's already gonna be a mixed baby. But
I mean a half human, half creature baby.
I hear you, but as I said. But I don't know. So we don't know how it passes. We don't know any of this stuff.
Biracial baby? Is that what we're saying?
Yeah, biracial baby, yes.
By species, baby.
By species. If this makes it a new species, we don't even know what the worm. Boyd is still Boyd. He just maybe has some powers.
Wait, no, because Alice just got the worm. Well, she gets pregnant.
I said if she's not pregnant
later. So I'm saying he shoots the seed and the seed has worms in them. Then we don't know how all this works, bro. I mean, I know how seeds work, but I'm saying we don't know how the worms work. So we gotta get that worked out. We gotta figure out
how it works.
I was like, I read. You know what was funny? In high school, I had a friend. She bought me a guide to sex. This was this big old book, and in the book she wrote, David, this is probably the only book you're gonna read. I didn't even read it. But anyway, she anyway. But I was like, it's fine. but it was hilarious. I appreciate the sentiment, I guess. But it was it had a lot of pictures and stuff, but it was more like scientific.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
It was more scientific, but it was like, hey, I was like, it's too many pages. I'm like, I ain't got time for this. That's what life is for. But anyway, we gotta see how did they top this? That's my question, because this was a lot. I mean, this was
a lot. It was a lot, and but it was well acted. Everybody did a great job. Everybody. I mean, even Marriott, the drug addict, she did a great job. I mean, Christy did a great job. Mal, who didn't say a word, but her body language told you everything. She was like, I'm not having any of this conversation. None of it. But she did turn back into mama, as she always does. When Boyd fell, she does care. She does care. And she was like, Kenny, take him to Christy, right? Right. And of course, Kenny's going to do whatever his mom says, right? But it was, you just know that these people care about each other, no matter how upset they're going to be. But that's society, right? You can be mad at someone and then still care about them enough to not let them die, right? So I thought that was really good. And I love the scene when Ethan was with Donna. Beautiful scene. Wonderful. She made that little boy feel so much better. I mean, imagine being his age and all of this stuff is going on, right? And he I like that they're showing this little boy with other people other than just his family. And he's getting knowledge from each one of the people that he comes in contact with, because that's how kids learn, right? And I think that's wonderful. I think his character is very significant. I think him, Jade, Sarah, even Elgin. I really believe that Elgin has more of an insight. Something about Elgin is telling me there's more to this. Because when he said to them, I don't like the sight of blood. Remember he said that when he was trying to help. There's something about him, the way he looked around, it just makes me feel like he's been there before. He's dreamed that he's been there before. There is something about him. I'm telling you that we're gonna find out. Maybe not this season, but maybe next season. There's something about Elgin that we're gonna find out.
I think it's people have said episode 6 and episode 10. I think somewhere maybe the end of episode 9 or somewhere in episode 10, we have to see something going with that lake or river, that I forgot what they call it, but that whole thing is what his vision or was based on, or he was drawn to that place. So I think it should at least pay off at that particular point. And to your point about Ethan learning the way he learns, I'm like, that's the only way he can learn, because there ain't no school there.
Well, yeah, that's true, right? But children should learn from that anyway. Like when you're a child, people you come in contact with, you should learn from them, right? Like most of the time, adults should be teaching someone younger about things that are important, right? And I like that they're showing that, because he's a little boy.
I'm saying, like, are we seeing the right way that it should have been done, and seeing the wrong way that it wasn't done with Victor, because he didn't have any of those
exactly people. That's what we're seeing. You're right. That is the way Victor didn't have anybody to do this for him, right? His mom died. He was a little boy. He was like, what, 8 or 9? Like, remember he came out of
he was lunch pail. He was lunch pail.
He had this little lunch pail. That guy, he socially is awkward because he doesn't know what to do.
Where's the boy in white?
Yeah, we haven't seen him in a minute, right?
What happened? What happened to that dude and that dog? What's that dog?
He hasn't had to guide anybody. Well, remember, the boy in white always comes up when they need guidance. They need to be pointed in the right direction, right? And then the dog also, remember, the dog always helps them get out of whatever situation they're in, right? So they're two guides. So nobody needed to be guided at this moment.
I don't see the boy in white just in town. It's usually like when they're in the, like, getting towards the forest or getting or actually in the woods or something. And nobody's been basically since Boyd came back. Nobody's really going.
No, but he helped Victor in the town.
Saw him in the town. He saw him in the town when the whole town was fucking wiped out.
But that was because he needed to guide him to safety, right?
Yeah.
It's always
So
a guide situation.
It could be a guy situation. I want Victor to apologize to Ethan because he apologized to Jade, but he shitted on Ethan. And I'm like, I mean, he needs to say sorry to Ethan because I was like, that's not okay. That little boy is hurt.
Yeah, I'm like, Victor, he played his little violin for, his little song he wanted, but, Ethan gave him them crayons. And I'm like, crayons.
So, hey,
no, they were markers. They were markers.
But it's like he needs to make that right.
Yeah, he does.
I know Ethan is still generally hurt because he hurt his friend. He felt like he hurt his friend. And you got this grown man yelling at you. You know what I'm saying? Like that. And so I want that to happen. Also, the wedding still needs to happen. Once Ellis gets back on his feet. I was hoping Boy didn't lose his son after losing his wife. I mean, that would be devastating. But I think if the wedding happens, maybe it happens in front of the lake, and this is where Elgin like kicks in. Like maybe they try to pull all that together. Because they're gonna need a place to do it. And I think that's where he engaged. I feel like the lake is important to their relationship. Like that's where they got engaged or some shit. I don't know. Anyway, I could be wrong.
I'm like, so there's only 2 guns in the town, so it would seem. So is Kenny running around with Abby's gun?
It could be. Well, it could be. And also, I think Randall's gun got confiscated, so now they have his gun. But to your point, it's probably Abby's gun that Kenny has.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Where the hell is the boy in white? Who are these creepy kids? Yeah. What's with the devil's Jenga? Jenga. I need at least 2 answers before the season ends. You ain't getting no answers.
That's a good one.
There's the memes online for Tabitha and that Jenga thing you got to see those memes there.
It's crazy. They still hate Sarah for being manipulated by the monster. How much would they hate Smiley for, if he does turn human? That's a good point. I saw you write that before.
Oh, they would hate him.
He's going into the box. Like that's definite. That's definite. So they need to come up. Oh, I don't know. That's good.
Oh God, he's another mouth to feed.
Also true. That's another. I'm like, you talk shit, you going outside. We can't feed y'all anyway. Randall, your citizenship has been revoked. So you need to go figure out bro. Live on the land or not, because we're running out of food out here. Sorry, buddy.
So if he turns human, we need to be questioning him from sun up, and then we decide when it starts to be sundown. Because I'm like, I want to he has answers. Like,
I think Kenny will be the first one.
We are interrogating the hell out of this thing.
Yep.
Yeah. Did you kill my father?
Yes. Why? Why did you do that?
Yes, I did. I don't know why you ask me silly questions. I was like, so we need to get in all that. All right. That's it. We gotta get to the silly BET movie. All right. Jemani, anything else for this?
No, that's pretty much it. I think, why did they have a new actress to play the ballerina? They could have had Sarah do it. I'm like, she's dancing all over the place. That's why she's what do you call it, a choreographer or whatever? People are saying, yeah, I sent you guys the video where she's like doing choreographed dances to like rap music and stuff.
Oh yeah, she's a choreographer.
And they're like, yeah, this is where she was at when she went into the tree.
No, but she is a choreographer in real life. She's a choreographer in real life. I saw the video with her dancing and stuff like that. But she does like hip hop videos. She does all types of stuff. Yeah.
I don't know. That's a good point, Jemani. That would have been interesting because maybe that's his interpretation of who the ballerina is, right? It's like he envisions Sarah, and Sarah's dancing. Like, since he went looking for her and saw the ballerina, if that was Sarah, then he'd be like, "What the hell are you doing, girl? What you?" And then she starts dancing. He's like, "What the? I'm losing it." Like, I mean, like that would have been interesting. Since that's
because like I'm saying, like the first time, was it like that he had the delusion? He thought he was walking in to talk to Sarah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it would have been awesome if at first we thought it was Sarah. For some reason, she dressed like a ballerina, and then she starts dancing, and you're like, "What the hell?" And then it just makes it all crarazy. Because it could have been real, but it's not, but we just need to figure out what Sarah's at. Kim, anything else?
No, I was just thinking the ballerina with the worms come out of her mouth. I know I said this before. I'm thinking that she did that to show Boyd, and she's in white, right? So I think that she was trying to show him that the worms were good. Do you know what I'm saying? Like everybody who wears white, right? We know the little girls or the children, they have white.
The children, yeah.
The little boy wears white. The ballerina now has on white, right?
Mm.
The worms that were coming out of her mouth signified the worms that were coursing through Boyd's body, right?
Okay, all right, okay.
So I'm thinking that it was like a metaphor to let him know that this, she's delicate, she's not hurting him, right?
All right. Well, she did
worms,
wrestle him. She did wrestle him to the medical bed. So she was aggressive.
Wait, so I'm gonna go with her on that, and I'm gonna say, all right. So Boyd said Martin couldn't die because of the worms, right? Boyd's Parkinson's was essentially cured or whatever have you because of the worms, right?
Well, we don't know that. It could be the worms or the spider bites.
Okay, but all right. So let's just go with Martin, right? It was
sustaining worms. Okay. This is what we're trying to achieve with this theory.
Yes.
All right. So it was sustaining his life. So if Smiley Monster, that could be sustaining him. That's why it's like he's still on the ground, and his life is still there. So I don't think he's dead. I think that the worms are going to keep you alive. And Boyd may have given up, eternal life, so to say, and pass it on to Smiley. And now they have to, I guess, get Smiley to pass it on to somebody else or something like that, because essentially it's going to be really hard for them to just kill Smiley. I don't think Smiley can we're going to put him out at nighttime, and the other monsters are going to now attack him with the worms now in him.
All right. Okay. I mean, perhaps like the worms are important. There's a finite number of worms. They are in Smiley, and now they got to get them out of Smiley, right? So maybe because that's gonna keep him alive. We got to see the Smiley next episode. Like, what does this mean for him? And what's the situation? Is he human? Is he just in stasis? What's going on? I don't know. Maybe he can just survive the day. And somehow they can talk to him now. He's still a monster, but maybe he can just live throughout the day, and they can interrogate him as we previously discussed.
Does it knock off the ecosystem of Fromville or whatever?
That was also brought up that maybe his departure does mess up the balance of the place. So we gotta see if that's the thing. And maybe he can explain that. Maybe he can explain, what they do and why they do it, and they have a part to play within the ecosystem or something. And maybe that's the thing. All right. We will see. All right, guys. Thank you very much for joining us in the chats. Please like on the video and comment on the video and all that kind of stuff. Jamani, we will see you in the weekends. Kim and I are gonna head over to this BT movie and be like, let's just get through it. There's a lot of things going on. So Marcus, if you're out there, we're gonna do this for you.